should be the place. Hey, you're Frank, right? The guy who runs the place?
You bet your bees I am. Welcome to Frank's Field of Fears, your one-stop shop for all things monster-related.
Okay, that should be helpful.
So, what are you on the lookout for? Witches, vampires, demons, zombies?
Ghosts, actually.
Ghosts? Ah, yes, the all-time classic. Don't worry a little thing about it. All you gotta do is spray some silly string on the floor and leave some pasta around, and you'll be covered in no time.
Actually, I was looking for a way to find ghosts, not really lure them away.
Hunt them? Ah, I get it. Love the thrill of the chase, huh?
Not exactly. You know what? Yeah, sure. Why not? Do you have anything that could help?
Well, it's all about knowing their behavior, huh? I have just the thing you might be looking for. My One Ghost Guidebook. It has all the things you need to know on catching ghosts.
And how accurate is that book?
It has a 100% approval rating based on every copy sold.
How many copies have you sold?
Are you buying it?
Possibly.
Soon to be one.
And do you have any other works I might be familiar with?
Oh, I've written plenty. You know, my Demon Guidebook was the primary resource for this satanic hotline.
Oh, that was you. Given my mutual's past experience with that, I'm not really sure that's the best purchase.
I'll throw in a free snow scraper.
Deal.
Oh, and free tip, ghosts are wary of people in large numbers.
All right, noted. Thanks for coming on such short notice.
You're really lucky that our Halloween party got canceled.
Oh, relax. By the time this is over, you'll be satisfied by the best Halloween ever. And you'll get paid.
Oh, yay!
Where are the ghosts exactly?
Well, let's see. According to this book, they're often drawn to places that have a creepy, eerie vibe to them, like old decrepit houses, abandoned mining facilities, and large open fields.
Wouldn't a more condensed location be more appealing to them?
I mean, there are some woods nearby, so we can take a look at those later.
Whatever gets this night over quickly.
Oh, don't worry, buddy. By the time we're done here, this whole night is just gonna fall. Oh! Sorry. Anyway, you guys go take a look over there, or I'll take another guide through the manual.
If you do that again, I'll sue you for that.
Hello, human beings. PowerGamer here. Yeah, money's a little tight right now. I figured I'd give the whole ghost hunting thing another try. Problem is, no one's on the market for a ghost hunter right now because having ghosts is trendy and fun. Now, at first I was very concerned about this, but then I realized something. If people are in the market for ghosts, I could try selling them instead of hunting them. Now, I know you probably think it's morally gray to hunt something that used to be alive, but don't worry, human rights violations don't apply to the dead. Of course, Lawrence and Knack helping me should make things easier than in the mansion a few years ago, but I work best when I'm multitasking, so while I'm searching for these spooky specters, I'm gonna be playing Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. You know, it sure is a good thing they released this game for a handheld and not a home console like the first one. Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, proof that the dead can still cause disappointment. The long-awaited sequel to the beloved GameCube launch title. Dark Moon is usually considered the black sheep of the Luigi's Mansion trilogy. I don't know anyone who hates this game, but almost everyone agrees it's nowhere near as good as the original, or the third entry for that matter. That is, except for me. Yeah, I'm probably the only person on the planet who actually likes this one more than the first game, but we'll get more into why in a bit. For now, let's just see how this game actually happened. Ideas for a Luigi's Mansion sequel date back all the way to 2002, when hardware designer Hideki Kono approached Nintendo about doing experiments that involved a new glasses-free 3D system he had been working with. This idea had him revisit the GameCube's hardware and make a new version that utilized a 4-inch LCD screen that was shown off at E3 2002, but this idea would end up being cancelled as the LCD screen was way too expensive to produce. However, Nintendo would later revisit this idea when development on the 3DS showed that they could use this kind of technology for a much more affordable price. Unlike the first entry, Dark Moon was developed by Next Level Games, a Canadian studio who had previously worked on games like Punch-Out and Super Mario Strikers. Development began in 2009, and interestingly, they initially had no idea what system they were actually making the game for, since the 3DS wasn't officially announced yet, which sadly ended up causing some issues since they had very serious trouble understanding what would actually work, which isn't very surprising. The team's goal was to create a completely new experience from the first Luigi's Mansion while still retaining the quality of it, and they were adamant on adding new gameplay elements and interesting features. Apparently, Luigi's control scheme was rebuilt from scratch about 10 times over, since unlike the original game, the 3DS only had one control stick, so they incorporated other features into the ghost catching mechanics as well as the overall level design. The game was revealed at E3 2011, and many details were kept relatively vague. It was originally set to release in 2012, but it was delayed to 2013. So, Nintendo decided to declare 2013 the Year of Luigi, as a celebration of the 30th anniversary since the character's original creation in Mario Bros. With this game serving as the frontrunner for the year that would later be followed by the release of of Mario & Luigi Dream Team and New Super Luigi U. Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon was released for the 3DS on March 20th, 2013 in Japan, with the rest of the world getting it a few days later. Although it was just called Luigi's Mansion 2 in Europe for some reason. No idea why they didn't just pick one or even combine them together into Luigi's Mansion 2 Dark Moon, but whatever. Being a long-awaited sequel to such a beloved classic, the game did really well, managing to sell 6.48 million copies, making it one of the best-selling games on the 3DS. And reception was decently positive, though most people felt it didn't quite capture the same magic as the original game, probably because they were much older, and when the third game came out, pretty much everyone agreed that that was much better, so Dark Moon is often viewed as the most inferior entry in the trilogy. But that didn't stop it from getting a remaster for the Switch in 2024, though I'll be sticking with the original version since that's the one I grew up with. I got this game for my birthday back in 2014. In fact, this is actually one of the first games I got alongside my 3DS, along with Pokemon Y, and I remember having a really good time with it, so I was surprised to go online and see a lot of people consider it inferior to its predecessor, especially when I actually played its predecessor and realized I'm not the biggest fan of it. So hopefully this will give me a chance to better explain why I consider this one an improvement rather than a regression. We open in Evershade Valley, a large area where Professor Egad is in this mansion studying some ghosts who appear to be acting very peaceful, which is interesting. But then this mysterious shadowy figure, that is clearly King Boo, shoots a beam from his crown at this big crescent thing in the sky, shattering it to pieces. This causes the ghosts to go haywire and Egad flees the mansion. We then cut to Luigi sleeping in his recliner from what I assume is the mansion he got in the last game, so canonically he got a C rank. His TV starts to act funky, which wakes him up, and when he goes to check it, Egad appears on screen and says he needs his help. He then activates his pixelator and transports Luigi through the screen to Evershade Valley. He arrives in this bunker that Egad was forced to set up shop in, and here we get a clearer picture of what's going on. Apparently that crescent thing was called the Dark Moon, and it has an inherent ability to pacify ghosts. When Egad learned of this, he immediately jumped on the opportunity to study ghosts in a peaceful environment, but then they recently started to act hostile. When he ran outside, he noticed that the valley had been covered in a dense fog, and more importantly, the Dark Moon had vanished from the sky. However, he managed to find a fragment of the Dark Moon nearby, which is a start, but also means he needs to find the other pieces. So he called Luigi to help him capture the ghost for safekeeping and restore the Dark Moon to return the ghost to normal and save the valley. The piece is corrupted by this weird energy, but after cleaning it, some of the fog disappears, allowing Egad to send Luigi into the mansion where he acquires the new Poltergeist 5000 and the hunt begins. We have a bit more backstory to this game and a more fleshed out location, but it's still about as simple as the last one. Ghosts are going crazy and we need to stop them. Simple, but it does the job. Though they do try and build King Boo up as a big mystery when it's blatantly obvious that it's him, kind of. Not really sure what they're going for exactly, since there are some parts of the game where you can clearly see him, but on the bright side it can lead to some cool shots like this. Despite going from a console to a handheld, the graphics for this game are even better than the first one. The colors are a lot more vibrant and the model quality is much higher, which is really cool. The 3DS was a pretty powerful handheld, so allowed for some great stuff like this. The music is a lot more variety due to the game having much more locations, which I really like, and while it doesn't happen as often, Luigi can still hum along. Though it's here we get to the first thing that people say is inferior to the original, the atmosphere. While Luigi's Mansion wasn't Silent Hill or anything, it still had quite a bit of ambiance, and the mansion did honestly feel haunted. Dark Moon can still have some creepy moments, but the majority of it is a lot more lighthearted and goofy. There's a lot more comedic moments with the ghosts in this game compared to the first one, so it doesn't feel as spooky as before. Yeah, this can be a little disappointing, especially if you are a big fan of the first game, but personally, I'm not super broken up about it. The atmosphere of the first game was really good, but it's not really the hook for me like it is for most people, so this game trying something different doesn't bother me as much. Especially since we get a lot of pretty funny cutscenes involving the ghosts, and Luigi just acting like a goofball, which is super endearing. Of course, that's not the biggest complaint people have with this game, but we'll get to that in a bit. Right now, let's talk about the more general overall gameplay, which to me completely trumps the first game in just about every way. You're once again tasked with exploring the mansions and solving puzzles as you capture a bunch of ghosts. However, the process of catching ghosts has been completely reworked, and it's nearly better in every way. For starters, the flashlight works completely differently. Instead of holding a button to turn it off and sneaking up on the ghosts, the Poltergeist 5000 is outfitted with the new strobe bulb that allows you to charge up the flashlight. Doing this will stun any ghost caught in the blast, and oh my god, this is so much better. Stunning ghosts in the first game was really finicky and annoying, but here it is so much easier to just hold down the button and zap them. Hell, you can even charge it up for more powerful blasts, letting you grab even more ghosts at one time. This is a big upgrade, and it's not even the best part. You once again drain ghosts of their health by pulling back on the stick, but doing so will also build up this meter, and once it's full, you can press the A button to suck out a big chunk. I'm sorry, but this is so much more enjoyable to me than just mashing the stick around and hoping the ghost doesn't get away like in the first game. It feels like you actually have control over what you're catching, and adds a whole new level of strategy that the first game didn't have. I could tolerate the ghost catching in the first game, but I was not a big fan of it. This is something I actively enjoy. Though I will say there are a couple setbacks due to the system. Pulling controlling back on the circle pad doesn't feel as good as a joystick, and because there's no right stick, you can't move and aim independently, aside from holding X and B to look up or down. But thankfully the game is designed around this, so it's ultimately not that big a deal. Aside from the strobe bulb, the Poltergeist 5000 is pretty much the same as the Poltergeist 3000 in terms of sucking and blowing, but the elemental ghosts have been removed, though I can live without those. However, we have a new feature in the form of the Dark Light device. Shining this thing with the Y button will allow you to reveal hidden objects that were turned invisible by these spirit balls. If you suck them all up, the object will reappear, though you only have a short amount of time before they die back in and you gotta start over. It can also be used to yank things out of paintings, which is a really cool feature. The Dark Light device isn't anything super complex, but it does lead to some cool puzzles, so I say it's a welcome addition, though you can only use it for a limited amount of time before it burns out, which is kind of annoying. You can also use it to reveal ghosts that are invisible, but that's honestly not very helpful. The other main gadget is this modified DS that EGAD nicknames the Dual Screen, which is basically the same thing as the Game Boy Horror from the last game in that it's both a map and a phone, though the photo feature has been removed, which doesn't make much of a difference. Oh, yeah, speaking of which, I should probably get back to looking for the real ghosts. Any luck over here?
No, there's nothing but a bunch of grass and some trees.
Hey, that's not true. I saw a squirrel over there.
We're not looking for squirrels, we're looking for ghosts!
We'll find some, we just gotta be patient. Come on, let's see. According to the guidebook, ghosts are drawn to things that remind them of their past lives. Well, we're not looking for any ghosts in particular, so that's kind of hard to pinpoint, but maybe if we look around, we can find some stuff that reminds anyone of their life. What's something that everyone would see in their life? Water? Too basic.
Money?
Too niche. Air? Too invisible.
Bread!
Really?
Leaves?
You know what? That could work. Everyone loves fall leaves. Here, gather around, gather up some leaves, and bring them here. Maybe we can lure some ghosts out. On it.
You know, you are very lucky that I saw you fight a pig the size of a building last month, otherwise I'd just think you were nuts.
That is the nicest thing you've ever said to me. Well, while that's taken care of, I think now's a good time to finally get into the biggest issue people have with this game, the structure. Dark Moon works very differently from the first game in that instead of exploring one mansion, you're exploring 5, though even then only a few of them are actually mansions. It's weird. There's the Gloomy Manor, which is a pretty standard mansion, much like the one from the first game, only much smaller, the Haunted Towers, which are 2 towers turned into a giant biology lab, the Old Clockworks, which is an abandoned clock factory, the Secret Mine, which is an old crystal mine covered in snow, and the Treacherous Mansion, a giant mansion filled with exhibits you find in a museum. Now, I really like the idea of having multiple mansions to explore, since it adds a lot more variety, and if you were in one place the whole time, it probably would have gotten stale, especially since this game is much longer than the first one was, roughly double the length. But the biggest thing that sets this game apart from the first one is that because it's released on a handheld instead of home console, it's mission-based. Every mansion is divided into 6 total missions, except for the Secret Mine, which is only 4 for some reason. Upon selecting a mission, EGAD will give you some sort of task to complete that somehow connects to you finding the Dark Moon piece inside of it. He sends you into the mansion via the Pixelator, you walk around catching ghosts, and the main goal is usually finding an important object or opening a correct path, but once that's accomplished, EGAD will call you on the dual screen and bring you back to the bunker. Keep doing this until the final mission, which is always a boss fight against one of these predecessor ghosts that can take control of other things and get a Dark Moon piece that opens up the next area. Repeat 4 times until you beat in the game. This is the main complaint against Dark Moon. The first game had a few moments where you leave the mansion and go back in, but this one happens every 20 minutes or so. This makes the game feel a lot less like one big connected adventure, since you can only go to certain rooms during specific missions, as opposed to last time where you could go wherever you wanted as long as you had access to it. A lot of people do not like this new system, and honestly, I completely understand why. Exploring the mansion, or mansions, is much less immersive when you're constantly popping in and out, and I fully agree that having to sit through the Pixelator loading screen every single time gets old pretty quick. But personally, I don't mind the mission structure. Maybe my view is skewed since I played this game first, but I'm not turned away by this change. And the main reason for that is because I actually think this game has a better progression system than the first one did. The first game, it was mostly just go here, capture ghost, get key, go here, capture ghost, get key, go here, capture ghost, get key, etc. It worked fine, but nothing really felt like it was super important, and because of the way the keys only opened certain rooms, it led to a lot of backtracking, which got pretty annoying. But here you have a much larger amount of puzzles to solve, and you're always on the hunt for something that leads towards your main objective, which is restoring the Dark Moon. Plus, the keys aren't tied to specific doors. Because of this, a lot more of the missions stand out from each other, since many vary in terms of structure and challenges. Some of them can get a little repetitive, like there are way too many where you need to just go to 5 different rooms to open a door, but the majority of them do feel distinct. Most of the rooms that you're going through during a certain mission are almost always close to each other, which makes the backtracking almost non-existent, especially since EGAD just warps you back to the entrance every time you get something. You do have to trek through the first couple of rooms many times, but it's still better than how it was in the first game. Plus, your health is restored in between missions, which is really appreciated. I say all this, and yet none of it really matters because no one really plays Luigi's Mansion to catch ghosts, they play it to make dough, which you thankfully can still do here. Much like the first game, the place is filled with money, although it's limited to just coins, bills, and gold bars. The pearls have been completely removed, and the gems are now set collectibles hidden throughout the game. They all look the same, but vary in color depending on the mansion. Gloomy Manor has amethysts, which are purple, Haunted Towers has emeralds, which are green, Old Clockworks has rubies, which are red, Secret Mine has sapphires, which are blue, and Treasure's Mansion has diamonds, which are white. Though the money serves a different and much better purpose than last time. There's no rating at the end of the game, but instead the money goes towards upgrading the Poltergeist. After finishing a mission, everything you've collected goes into the vault, and the money fills up this meter, which can give you 5 upgrades. There's 2 that upgrade the capture meter, which give you an extra section, letting you charge it up even more and do more damage, and 2 that upgrade the dark light device, giving it a much longer time. The final upgrade takes ages to get, but it strengthens the raw power of the Poltergeist, making the meter fill up twice as fast, which is awesome. Since you're not rated at the end of the game, you're instead rated at the end of each mission. There's 3 different ratings, bronze, silver, and gold, and which one you get is determined by how fast you beat it, how many ghosts you caught, how much health you lost, and how much money you grabbed. Now I think it's time we actually talk about the ghosts, and this is the one area that I fully agree the first game did better, because this game doesn't have any portrait ghosts in it. Now the portrificationizer isn't in this game at all, aside from Aidan almost mentioning it once. All the ghosts are just stored in the vault, which isn't an issue in itself. But the first game had a wide variety of ghosts with names and personalities to them. This game doesn't really have much of that. There are a few, but the vast majority of the ghosts are just these basic blank slate ones, which work fine. They do the job, but the portrait ghosts were definitely a lot more memorable. On the bright side, the basic ghosts in this game are more varied than the basic ghosts from the first one. Hell, they even have names and descriptions if you look at them in the vault. So let's go over some of them. There's greenies, which are the prime default ghosts that just act goofy and try to punch you, but they also use random objects as weapons and protection, so you gotta find different ways to remove them. Slammers, which are big red ghosts that cause shockwaves when they clap. Hiders hide in objects and throw things at you, so you gotta lure them out. Sneakers turn invisible to jump scare you, which can be really annoying when trying to catch other ghosts. Gobbers are huge and spit grease at you even when sucking them up. Creepers are little puddles that trap you if you step on them, but are easy to catch when vulnerable. Poltergeists can move things with their minds. And the rare gold greenies, which are just greenies with more health that are hidden in different parts of the game and give you a bunch of money after you capture them. Plus the 5 possessor ghosts I mentioned earlier, which serve as the boss fight for each mansion. So yeah, the default ghosts in this game aren't as good as the first one, but in my opinion, none of that matters, because it is completely evened out by the greatest thing about Dark Moon, and, in my opinion, the absolute best part of the entire Luigi's Mansion trilogy. Polterpup! Yep, this adorable little ghost doggy will pop up a few times throughout the game. Now, while he does cause trouble for Luigi, it doesn't matter because he is just the cutest little thing, and it's impossible to see him and not smile. But on top of that, he is actually helpful. After you collect a decent amount of money, you can find one of these gold bones in a random part of the level. If you die, you have to start the mission all over again, but if you have a gold bone, Polterpup will come running in, eat it, and then slobber all over Luigi's face, waking you up and fully restoring your health, so he effectively gives you an extra life. So thanks, little buddy. You may cause some trouble, but I will gladly have you as my companion. The last big thing to talk about is the boos, which work very differently, but again, they're much better. There's a boo hidden in every mission of the game, excluding the boss missions, and some are required to catch to finish the mission, but most are hidden in some object. You expose them by either shining the dark light device on the object to reveal it, or just by interacting with it in some way. Instead of just trying to suck it while it runs, it will turn invisible and you have to reveal it with the dark light device. Then use the Poltergeist to suck up its tongue, and when charged, it'll go bouncing around the room like a balloon. Once its health is depleted, you can just suck it up like it's nothing. There are many things about this game that people can argue were better in the first one, but this is not one of them. Catching the boos was insanely tedious last time due to how much health they had, the fact that they could go into other rooms, and how little control you had over it. This system here fixes just about all of those issues, and I am extremely grateful for that because it is nowhere near as obnoxious. And even if you don't want to get them, they're completely optional, since collecting them all just unlocks a bonus mission for each mansion, and that's just collecting ghosts under a time limit, so I didn't bother with them. Plus, the most important aspect of them having pun names is still kept. Now I'll go over some more minor things. The ghost animals from the first game have been replaced with standard ones like mice, bats, and spiders, which you can suck up, but flashing them with the strobe ball gives you money, and the gold ones are more valuable. Many parts of the game let you peek in windows, which let you see some amusing shenanigans the ghosts get up to, as well as foreshadow later missions. And there's some secret areas that transport you to a timed minigame for extra money and gems. All that's left is this new side mode, the Scare Scraper. You and up to 3 other players climb this tower and have to work together to complete different tasks. There's 3 modes, one where you just catch ghosts, one where you have to race to get to the exit, and one where you hunt down polterpups. You determine the length and difficulty before you start, and once you reach the top, you fight a boss. After clearing a floor, you then race to find 4 red coins, which can give you a bonus, and money you collect gives you upgrades. It's an amusing little side mode, but nothing super crazy. Oh, right, I almost forgot about the most egregious thing that this game did. They got rid of the Mario button. Now, whenever you tap the D-pad, Luigi just says, hello.
Yo-ho. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Okay, I was wrong. This game is completely inferior to the original. Ugh.
Have you just been playing that game this whole time?
How long have you been standing there?
Long enough to be annoyed.
I'm sorry, but I accomplish tasks better when I do them in parts.
You've barely gathered up any leaves. You can't expect us to do all the work. I'm used to other people doing work because I'm at the top.
Hey, at least you guys aren't lugging this thing on your back.
Yeah, I've been meaning to ask. What is that thing?
It's a ghost blaster. It shoots a beam out of it that infuses itself with ectoplasm so that when I pull it back...
Okay, we get it. We don't need the technicals. Okay, so are we gonna see any of these things or not?
Right, put the leaves in that pile right there. Okay, looks good. Now, did you guys find anything that could remind a ghost of their past life?
Well, I found somebody's wallet. Not sure if they're dead, but at least I can harvest its contents.
Okay, all I found was this basketball. It was probably lost by a kid or something. Ow. Mac, did you find anything?
Yeah, I found a pen. And this bloody knife.
I feel like I should be concerned about that, but whatever. Put them all in the pile. Okay, and now we wait. Gloomy Manor starts out with Poltergeist 5000. EGAD gives Luigi the dual screen and the flashlight and sends him in. Grab this key from a mouse, letting you enter and head into the garage where we find the Poltergeist, although the strobe bulb was stolen by these little bastards. Head down the hall, get it off the chandelier, and capture the first band of ghosts. EGAD brings Luigi back and shows off the vault. Gear Up opens with EGAD telling Luigi about a device called the periscope that can help locate paranormal signals, and what's interesting about the periscope is that he mentions it many times throughout the game, and we never actually see it. He found some strong activity in the north of Manor, but the slammers steal the gears of the machine we need to access it, so travel around the mansion and find them to get the gears back, but unfortunately they're busted. Quiet please, EGAD fixes them up and says there's a super strong signal in the library. Head over there and find a piano playing itself, which is actually a group of poltergeists that you need to capture. Visual tricks, EGAD shows Luigi a spirit ball and explains what they do, as well as the purpose of the dark light device. It's in the lab, but the door disappears, so you gotta drop in from the fireplace of the parlor upstairs. Acquire the dark light device, and EGAD says someone is releasing the spirit balls and being undetected by the periscope, so we need to find this disappearing deviant. Searching around leads to the kitchen, where the culprit turns out to be a boo, and from this point on you gain the ability to find boos in all the missions. EGAD is shocked to learn there's a boo in Evershade Valley and makes a slight allusion to the portrificationizer but gets distracted. Sticky situation. The manor has been infested with spiders, so you gotta remove all the spider webs, and I mean all of them. Most just get sucked up with the poltergeist, but the bigger ones need to be burned. And we can finally access the rafters, which has you balance on this narrow beam by tilting the 3DS with the gyroscope, something I didn't realize when I was a kid. Confront the source. EGAD discovers a strong paranormal reading coming from the cellar, so board this elevator and head on down to find a giant and not at all terrifying spider. Thank God I don't have arachnophobia. If you stand too close to it, it slams down its legs to summon more spiders, and if you stand far away, it shoots globs of poison at you. You want to flash it with the strobe bulb, suck up this part of the web, and then drag it towards the fire. This will burn the web, revealing there's a ghost possessing the spider. It creates the shield and charges at you, so you want to dodge it, stun it, and then suck it up, so when you hit the A button, you'll rip part of its skin off. Repeat this process 3 times, with the corridor constantly getting longer, and you win. Believe it or not, this is the hardest boss fight in the game. After you capture the ghost, Luigi gets the dark moon piece that was inside it, and the spider wakes up and takes her babies home. EGAD is shocked to see a ghost that can possess things, and back in the bunker, he cleans the dark moon piece, letting us reach the haunted towers.
Gee, these ghosts sure are sneaky. I can't even see them.
That's because there are no ghosts, and there won't ever be any. Ever.
No, there will be. You just gotta be patient.
You shut up about patience. There is absolutely no way a ghost will show up just because we put a bunch of leaves on the ground.
I wouldn't be talking smack because there is literally a ghost right next to you. Sweet, we got one.
Oh, lovely.
They took the leaves. After them. A job for a plumber. We need to check out the hydro generator in order to access the majority of the towers. We go there and it seems to be fine, so EGAD suggests inspecting the water supply. Head upstairs, kill these monster plants by shooting spike balls into their mouths, suck up these balloons which let you float, and reactivate the water pumps by powering up the generator. Sudden gobber attack. Back in the bunker, EGAD says if ghost hunting doesn't work out, Luigi might have a future as a plumber. This guy's supposed to be a genius, right? The pinwheel gate. EGAD was able to locate the next dark moon piece, which is apparently at the top of the giant tree. Unfortunately, a group of hiders show up and steal the pieces of the gate, so once again, you have to run around and find all of them, which culminates in another haunted piano. Why are all ghosts experts at playing the piano? Graveyard shift. Head back in and fix up the gate, letting you access the tree. But this door suddenly shows up and we need a special key to open it. Apparently, it's in the crypt, but when we go there, we instead find a painting with a toad inside it. Let him out and he turns out to be one of EGAD's assistants who was sent to look over the place. Sadly, EGAD can't pixelate both of you for some reason, so you need to go to the gardener's lab and find find an old screen that'll transport him. But then you're suddenly attacked by these ghosts called the Three Sisters, Lucinda, Melinda, and Berlinda, and this is the closest thing the game has to a Poltergeist fight. They float in circles and block your light with their mirrors, but if you flash them when they're distracted by their reflections, you can get them. This is honestly a pretty hard fight because there's no clear sign of when they're distracted, so you either have to pay really close attention or just get lucky. You know, maybe not having Poltergeists in this game isn't such a bad thing after all. After that, you can find the screen and send Toad back. Pool Party, we're able to view a security image Toad brought back and see a Boo handing the key off to a sneaker in the pool, along with a strange painting the Boos are carrying. So you need to head up to the pool and get the key, and along the way, you find this rumpus room, which is the most terrifying part of the whole game. Why is it following me? Stop it. Please? Eventually, you reach the pool and have to capture all the ghosts to get the key, only for Polterpup to snatch it and throw it out the window. Doggone key. Find Polterpup in the courtyard, but he eats the key and runs off with it. So you need to use the dark light device to see these footprints he leaves to track him down and eventually capture him to get the key back. But back in the bunker, he somehow manages to avoid getting sent to the vault and jumps out. Never underestimate the power of a dog wanting to go for walkies. Tree topping. We head back to the tree and finally open the door to access the treehouse, but before getting there, you need to walk up a bunch of stairs, and if you pick the wrong one, you slide down to the bottom and have to capture a ghost. After this, the correct one will have its torches be unlit, but this only lasts a short amount of time. At the treehouse, the staircase turns out to be possessed, and it attacks, leading to one of the easiest boss fights I've ever seen in my life. It just chomps, shoots fire, and jumps into the air, all of which are ridiculously easy to avoid. You then grab this rope to yank out the ghost, and this part is exactly the same for all of the possessors, but with slight additions. This one now charges twice before you can hit it. Suck it up, put the stairs back, and grab the dark moon piece, which when cleaned lets us reach the old clockworks. I beat this entire mission without taking any damage. Alright, we gotta keep moving. The ghosts have to be around here somewhere.
You know, I'm starting to think this is a bad idea.
Now.
Okay, I've always thought this was a bad idea, but now I'm sure of it.
Whatever, as long as I have this thing, no one is gonna get hurt. Up there! Oh, oops. Sorry, Mac.
Don't worry, no harm done.
Alright then, let's keep moving. Come on! A timely entrance. EGAD locates the piece pretty easily, but we need to open the clock tower gate to reach it. As I'm sure you'd expect, once you reach it, the hands turn out to be missing, so you gotta go find them. EGAD detects a strong signal coming from underground, but we need a special compass to get down there. Head upstairs and you find it in the drafting office. Underground expedition. Put the compass on this spot here, opening the door to the storm cellar. It turns out this place was built over an ancient archaeological site, because of course it was, so you gotta venture further and further down until you find one of the clock hands in the possession of this ancient poltergeist. You can tell it's ancient because it's blue. You're then attacked by mummies, which are just greenies wrapped in cloth. It turns out the ancient poltergeist is much more powerful than the normal ones, but this also makes it easier to track. Roundhouse brawl. Go to the roundhouse and find them, but you can't pass because of this slightly elevated wood, so you go upstairs, balance on more beams, go through this conveyor belt room, and eventually fight the ancient poltergeist. It's pretty much the same as the normal ones, only you have to watch out for the sand tornado and bombs. And the hand appears on the other side of the room, which is really annoying. But sadly, this is only the minute hand. The hour hand is still missing. Play catch. We check out a signal in the courtyard and find some greenies with the hand, only for it to be snatched by Polterpup. So once again, use the dark light device to track him down and catch him. We get the hand back, but the paranormal pooch manages to escape going to the vault again. Peace at last. We're still missing one important piece, that being the gate's rotor, so EGAD sends Luigi to the eastern part of the factory where we see the sneaker with strange markings on it carrying the rotor. It goes in the storage room, which is inaccessible, but then EGAD remembers he had another Toad assistant looking after the place, so head to the synchronization room and find him trapped in another painting. We also learn he has an irrational fear of clocks, because of course he does. Head back to the storage room, and along the way you fight that weird sneaker, which is much stronger than a normal one. Once you reach the storage room, you can get the rotor and then return to the service elevator you started in to send Toad back. Showtime. We inspect another security image revealing the possessor ghost and a bunch of other ones heading to the top of the tower. And the painting the Boos are carrying has a familiar looking hat, so I'm sure that doesn't mean anything. Pop the hands back in the gate and use the rotor to open it up. Reach the top and find the ghost who possesses the entire clock. This fight is just an enemy gauntlet as each part of the clock sends more powerful ghosts at you. First 1 greenie, then 3 greenies, then 5 greenies, then 2 slammers, a bunch of bugs you need to flash, 3 sneakers, 3 armed greenies, 3 mummies, more bugs, 5 creepers, a bunch of those bomb robots you've seen throughout the mansion, and then finally just a smorgasbord of stuff. The hands hurt you if you touch them while they're glowing. You have to capture everything before the minute hand reaches the top again, or else you start the round over, and every 4 rounds the possessor ghost emerges. This one charges 4 times. Get the dark moon piece and clean it to reveal the secret mine.
How long have we been running? We're in the middle of nowhere!
I don't know, but that ghost has to be around here somewhere.
Well, wherever it is, I'm sure we'll find it soon. Whoa!
Well, that certainly could have gone much. I am really starting to regret hanging out with you.
Save the complaining for later. Right now, we need to keep an eye out for that ghost! Whew, gotcha! There's 2.
How many do we actually need?
As many as we can find. This could be a long night.
Okay.
Oh no.
Cold case. EGAD sends us to find another Toad assistant who he assumes to be napping in front of the chalet. But when we go inside, he's nowhere to be found. Go check the fishing hut and find him trapped in yet another painting. When you free him, he gets so excited that the ice breaks and you both fall into the mine, so now you have to trek back out. There's an elevator in here, but the zipline is out of order, so you gotta take the long way, which ends with you crossing the bridge while a wind gust blows you to the right. This took me ages when I was a kid. Eventually you fix the bridge, return to the chalet, and send the Toad back to the bunker with Luigi following suit. Hit rock bottom. Another Toad means another security image, and this one shows the booze putting ghosts inside these weird crystals, and the painting again. I really can't imagine what this is building up to. Upon heading inside, you need to make your way to the crystal quarry, which is all the way down at the bottom, and this level introduces E-gates which let you teleport around. That's pretty fun. In the quarry, we see a Greenie, Slammer, and Sneaker get those strange patterns from the crystals, peek inside to one of them, and get jump scared before the ghosts break out and you have to capture them. Well, this explains the strong Sneaker from the old Clockworks. Boos are putting ghosts inside these crystals to make them more powerful, and from this point on, you're almost exclusively fighting strong versions of these ghosts, which just means they have more health and do more damage. Across the chasm, the Dark Moon piece is in the workshop, but to get there, you need to cross a large chasm. Luckily, there's a gondola, but it gets chained off by a strong Greenie, Slammer, and Gobber, so you gotta chase them down to get rid of the chains. Unfortunately, the gondola is busted, so you gotta use this thing to shoot hot rocks to melt some ice and then ride these zip lines across the gap. Use bomb robots to activate this generator, and we can finally get inside the workshop. Chilly Ride is the absolute worst part of the game. It's the boss level, and the ghost possesses the frozen lake that's inside the workshop and begins tunneling down while Luigi gets caught in this sled thing with a cannon on it. This boss fight is absolute garbage. Instead of avoiding its attacks and solving a puzzle like normal, you have to shoot hot rocks to break apart this ice shield it makes on its face. Once it's broken, you gotta shoot another rock into its mouth, causing it to explode, and you can hurt the ghost. This one teleports. Every round, the center part gets another segment added to it. It spins around the entire time, and trying to properly aim and hit these things is nearly impossible. The timing is absurdly strict, and if you take too long, he refreezes and you have to start over, which wouldn't be an issue if it wasn't for the fact that you only have a limited number of shots per round before the thing overheats, which results in an immediate game over. And if that wasn't bad enough, you have to time shooting it in the mouth just right, or else the face refreezes and a bunch of heat is added to the sled. Screw this boss. I hated it when I was a kid, and I still hate it now. Eventually you take it out, get the Dark Moon piece, and you can reach the treacherous mansion. But catching the real ghosts is more important. You guys see any?
No, I think they were just after my pie.
Shut up about the pie!
I'm gonna double check the manual. Let's see. Ghosts tend to be weary of things they perceive as a threat, so disregard anything that can harm a ghost. Okay, this thing is starting to contradict itself. I mean, wouldn't something dangerous remind a ghost of their past life because it could remind them of how they died?
That's why you don't take advice from a manual sold by some guy in a field.
I've still got the knife. You think it'll help?
Put that thing away before someone gets hurt. Guys, don't panic, but there's a... Okay, come on. Got it. Okay, that was bad, but thankfully only minimal damage occurred.
Minimal?
Don't worry, we can fix that later. Right now, I'm gonna go through the final mansion.
You can't be serious!
Front door key. The treacherous mansion has the highest level of paranormal activity you guys ever seen, so clearly this place is dangerous. He gives Luigi the key to the front door because he just had this on standby and sends him in, but upon reaching the front door, the key is snatched by Polterpup. I want to be mad, but I can't when he gives me that look. Follow Polterpup through these tunnels and fight some greenies in suits of armor that you expose by sucking up the carpet. This will be important later. Eventually, you find Polterpup in this dungeon, capture him, and he actually goes in the vault this time, so he won't be giving us any more trouble. Double Trouble is one of the coolest missions in the game. You have to travel between 4 different exhibits and bring stuff between each of them in order to save not 1, but 2 Toad assistants. Figuring out these puzzles and using the E-gates to travel around the mansion is really cool, and while it can take a little while, it's still pretty fun. Bring the Toads to the center of the mansion and use them to create a staircase, allowing us to send them back. Apparently, EGAD forgot he sent 2 Toads to the mansion, proving he is a really bad boss. His words, not mine. A train to catch. We examine another security image and discover the painting the boos have been carrying around does in fact contain Mario, who somehow got captured off-screen. Yeah, unlike the first game, he hasn't been mentioned once, so I guess they ambushed him in his sleep or something. But more importantly, Luigi and EGAD finally discover that King Boo is the one behind all this. Well, I'm not gonna let them stop me from...
Mario.
Wait, what?
Mario. 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 Mario.
After discovering Mario's been captured, the D-pad makes you say Mario instead of hello. The Mario button is restored. This game has redeemed itself!
My arm got cut off!
There's a huge signal coming from the train exhibit, so this mission is about getting there, though the entrance is through a bookcase and the necessary book is stolen by a strong poltergeist. So you need to chase it down to the space exhibit and fight it in this really cool moon illusion. Reach the train exhibit, catch some more ghosts, and discover Mario and King Boo inside the model train. Ambush maneuver. Egad manages to route the pixelator to a mini camera inside the model train, so he sends Luigi in, only for him to discover that it was a trap, and he's attacked by Big Boo, which is basically the same thing as Boo Losses in that it's a bunch of Boos combined into one. You fight this one by either making him bump into the train or waiting for him to slam on the ground 3 times. Grab his tongue and launch him into the front of the train, which acts as a drill, breaking him apart. Then grab the Boos one by one and launch them into the train cars to contain them. Honestly, not a bad fight. Afterwards, we learn that Egad sold King Boo's painting at a garage sale, so that at least has something to do with how he escaped. Our final normal mission is Paranormal Chaos, where Egad detects a massive paranormal surge coming from the terrace. It turns out King Boo has opened a giant portal, which is releasing an extremely high amount of ghosts that's so strong it's beginning to distort the fabric of reality. So you need to run all over the mansion and capture all the ghosts as fast as possible before everything becomes too unstable. It's legit really intense, but also pretty fun. Stop the nightmare. It's finally time to take King Boo down and save Mario. Luigi is sucked through the portal, which takes him to this large castle area. He's ambushed by the final possessor ghost, who splits himself apart and takes control of these suits of armor. Remember those armor suits from the first mission of this place? Well, that's the key to winning this boss fight. Wait until the armor suits are on the same rug and then trip them to expose the ghosts. If you only get one, then it just gets back up. And the possessor shoots beams of energy when he charges. The second round, he splits into 4 suits instead of 2, and the last round, he takes control of this giant one that you have to trip both feet of. Honestly, this fight is really easy since their weapon attacks are not hard to avoid. Once it's captured, Luigi retrieves the final Dark Moon piece and Egad brings him back, but he's absorbed in the pixelator along the way, ending up in King Boo's illusion. It all comes down to this: a nightmare to remember. King Boo fully reveals himself and the fact that he not only escaped, but he shattered the Dark Moon using this enchanted jewel in his crown, and now he's gonna turn Luigi and everyone else into paintings and lead a ghost invasion on the world. The final boss fight has you run around on this tilting platform while avoiding King Boo as he charges and slams down. That causes these spike balls to either appear or go flying in the air. You want to shine the flashlight on him so that the balls land on him when they come back down, letting you suck him. Once his health is depleted, he goes in the Poltergeist, but his crown prevents him from getting sucked up. You then have to run through this hallway as he comes rolling at you while maneuvering around different obstacles. The second phase, he also shoots lightning, which can alter some of the tiles, but it's pretty much the same as the first. We get another chasing sequence, and then the third phase, the lightning is much more prevalent. It's not a super hard boss fight, but it is interesting and fun, which is more than enough to make up for it. It's certainly better than the phony Bowser from last time. After 3 rounds, King Boo is finally sucked up, and Luigi grabs the gem, which brings him back to the real world. Use the Dark Light device to save Mario, and then Egad and all the Toads come in. With the help of Luigi, they restore the Dark Moon, and all of the ghosts return to normal. Egad opens the vault, good thing he got the right button, and Mario congratulates Luigi, which is really sweet. They all take a picture together, and Luigi returns home, where we discover that he actually adopted Polterpup. I knew no one could resist this little cutie. And there we go. Finally done.
Can we please get to the more pressing matters at hand? Like, I don't know, a disembodied limb?
Oh, yeah, should probably do something about that. Let me take.
You stupid idiot! I hate you so much! I would give up all my money to stay on your feet! I'm joining and drown in the lake! Come on! Not now! I'm trying to show this loser what happens when he messes with a billionaire!
Watch it! Hey! Watch it!
Look at the size of that thing! What do we do?
I don't know. Something in here. If you see a ghost roughly larger than the size of an average bull, run as fast as possible. Oh, come on! Well, that helped, I guess.
Hold this.
What?
What are you doing?
Doing what I should have done a long time ago. Shoot that thing!
Bullets don't work on ghosts, you idiot!
Well, not just any regular bullets, these are. These are diamond bullets forged from the inner core, hard enough to penetrate anything, including the incorporeal.
Don't worry, I'll take care of this. There we go. Probably should have done that earlier. Well, that should be enough ghosts to turn a profit. Sorry about your pie, Mac.
It's alright, I got more at home.
Oh, well, in that case, no serious harm done.
Lawrence died.
He's got life insurance, don't worry about him. Operation Dark Moon is super underrated. Yeah, it's not as atmospheric as the first one, and the mission structure can be a turn-off, but for me, it completely outshines the original. It's more varied, it has more content, and it's just overall more fun. I really enjoyed this game, and honestly, I don't think it gets the respect it deserves. Again, I may be biased since I have the same level of nostalgia for this game that most people do for the first one, but I don't care. I think this game rocks. I'm really glad I got to play this game again, especially since it meant this night wasn't a total waste. Yeah, turns out no one wants ghosts anymore because they're basically roommates that don't pay rent. So I'm just gonna put them in this basketball and then leave them for someone who might actually want them.
I thought I told people to stop leaving things lying around.